Welcome, everyone, to our Power Thinking, Rejuvenating Your Amazing Mind training for Wednesday. It is August 19th, 2026. This is our 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time edition, and I'm your moderator, Stanley Green. Always a pleasure to be with you on this Wednesday, beautiful Wednesday. Hope that your week is going well and that your day went well today. For some of you, it may be Thursday morning. But wherever you are in the world, um, our job here in this 30 minutes, and I'm happy that you're investing this time out of the 10,000 plus minutes we have each week, the 30 minutes, so that we can help you to reinforce and build these strengths of resilience and expose you to and connect you to these skills so that as you're here and we're communicating that it is further ingraining these essential strengths and skills so that when that adversity hits, you are ready. And I'm going through one now. I'm using a different phone. For 3 days, my main phone has had challenges and no data at all. And they said that I had an outage on Monday. And then we go, and I mentioned this morning. You know, the simple things that you take for granted now in this new age of technological marvels that are now just, commonplace. Things like GPS instead of the old maps or just getting directions from someone. And, you never have to think because it's telling you, turn here, turn there. You make the wrong turn. It reroutes and said, okay, now keep going and turn at the next light. And that's what you do. Yeah. I never have to remember how I got there and how I'm getting back. I have the GPS. But when you have no data, you don't have GPS. So it was interesting, but because of that, there was some anxiety that comes up when you're driving along and like, okay, am I going the right way? Am I getting lost here? Is it north or south? The person told me, and so it is really interesting now, the things that we take for granted now that helps us in our lives. And when you don't have it, what happens? Even phone calls, you're driving along and you can't really make a phone call because you don't have data, the things that, again, we don't have to think about. And so they're forced to rely on our training, resilience skills, taking a deep breath, and get calm, and reaching out for help, which wasn't one of my strong points in the old days before GPS. When my wife's driving with me and I'm lost, but of course I want to look like I know where I'm going. And she says, "Hon, I think we're lost." And I said, "No, we're good, we're good. Why don't we go to this gas station here?" No, we're good, we're good. So because of our resilience training, I immediately reached out, the other day and driving along and a little lost. And okay, you know what? I'm pulling into the first gas station and, I asked this person, and unfortunately, the person didn't speak English very well. So we had another challenge. But it was challenge after challenge tonight with another rep. Monday went through about an hour and a half, and then tonight another rep leading up to the meeting. And we tried a few things and didn't work, and so we'll have to go to the next step. But again, stay calm. What's the alternative? Use my wife's phone to get on. Use the code. We're on. We're good. A couple of other incidents. We're mind reading, and that's our focus for tonight. The thinking trap of mind reading, came into play when a classmate, as we're heading for a big reunion, had some questions about some things and wanted to speak with me and a person that's part of the University of Pennsylvania's staff. So when that came up, of course, thoughts come to mind. And it's amazing. Even if you teach this stuff or you may be a practitioner, it doesn't stop the thoughts from happening. The question is, what do we do with them? And so in this case, there was a little mind reading. Probably thinking about this, thinking about that. Wait a minute, back off, calm down. It's probably something that is not that big of a deal. And turns out we'll have the call, but it's really not that big of a deal and something that I think I can be very helpful in. And it's what happens. And so the goal with us, of course, is first to be more aware. When we talk about our skills of resilience, learning the ABCs, avoiding the thinking traps like mind reading, detecting these deep rooted beliefs, it is about being aware and recognizing when we're falling into these traps. So I want to introduce to many of you for the first time someone who's been with us for quite a few years now, Leona Martin. And Leona, thank you so much for joining us, and love for you to share, as you're my co-host for this evening,
Mhm,
your background and
mhm,
what you focus on today,
yeah,
and your thoughts about power thinking in the
mhm,
time during the time that you've been with us.
mhm.
Welcome.
Thank you, Stanley. So, again, thank you for the invite, and I'm just so happy to join you and to be here tonight. And I wish good day to all those that are listening in or watching in. So, again, my name is Leona Martin, and I am the founder of LCM Career Coaching. Career coaching is more than a business for me. It's truly a passion. And that passion comes directly from my own professional experience. For more than 20 years, I worked as a corporate recruiter in the healthcare industry, including serving as a nurse recruiter at a major Harvard teaching hospital in Boston. And I did neglect to say that I'm from Boston. During those years, I had the opportunity to interview and work with countless professionals at different stages of their careers. And I began to notice something. Too many times I saw talented young professionals walk into interviews unprepared, nervous, and lacking confidence. They had the education, they had the ability, they had the potential, but they didn't always know how to communicate their value. And as a recruiter, I knew what hiring managers were looking for. And many times I could see potential in those candidates that they couldn't yet see in themselves. As a recruiter, it's always helpful to be able to give people some to give them some confidence by saying, "Oh, you've got great experience, and I think you'd be great in this role. Tell me more." But that's why I started LCM Career Coaching. I saw the need, I knew I could make a difference, and I was ready to go. Today, I use my recruiting experience and coaching experience to help people recognize their strengths, build their confidence, and position themselves for opportunities they may not have thought were possible. Whether someone is searching for a new position, transitioning into a new career, preparing for an interview, building their networking skills, or just learning how to navigate their worth or negotiate their worth, my goal is to educate, motivate, and elevate them through that journey. I believe everyone deserves the opportunity to have a career where they feel valued, confident, fulfilled, and excited about the work that they do. One of the most rewarding moments for me is watching someone go from, I don't know if I can do this, to, I got the job. That's why I do
Mm,
this work. That's why I'm passionate about career coaching. And that's why LCM Career Coaching exists. So, again, I'm Leona Martin, founder of LCM Career Coaching. And I believe the secret to getting ahead is getting started. And sometimes getting started begins with one conversation.
that's
Uh,
tremendous.
yeah, so that's what I'll say about me and my passion and so forth. And so I've been with Power Thinking for a couple of years now. And, I have to be honest, Stanley, when I first joined, I wasn't really sure how to navigate through things. But I,
Mhm.
I found myself just listening. And the more I listened without saying a whole lot, the more it kind of clicked in my head. This is good stuff. I need this because I'm going to retrain my brain
There we
to
go.
think a certain way, especially when those negative thoughts come knocking at my door, you
Right.
know? So it's been very helpful to be a part of this group and to hear what others have to say, as we go along on these Wednesday evening sessions. And I've really come to enjoy being a part of Power Thinking. So I'm so glad that I did. And I thank you, Stanley, for creating and providing this platform, and to those of you that show up all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Leona, and it's a pleasure to have you because we knew, that you've been out there and
Yes. Yeah.
listening, for
Uh-huh.
years,
Right.
and now
Right.
you're part, and that you have the Power Thinking Corp app
Hmm.
now, and so
Hmm.
we definitely appreciate that. So
Yeah.
let's delve into mind reading, and before we do, feel free anyone to hit that *6. We sent out a video called "Cognitive Distortions:
Mhm.
Mind Reading." Love to get your thoughts about that video. It's about 5 minutes, but I thought really nailed it in terms of what this thing called mind reading is and how impactful it is. There are 7 skills, and one of those skills is avoiding thinking traps. And there are 8 different thinking traps, and there are more out there, but we hit the main ones. And each one of these thinking traps, in and of themselves, can cause and wreak havoc in your lives. If you're not skilled at recognizing that you're falling into this trap.
Mhm.
And most of the people in the world we know of, you know, don't realize when they're falling into these thinking traps. And that's why it's
Mhm.
important for us to do this on an ongoing basis so that we now can go, okay, you know what? I'm jumping to conclusions, or,
Mhm.
I may be minimizing the positives that are going on and making too big of a deal out of the negatives. Or, I do have a habit of thinking that I know what someone else is thinking, and many times I'm wrong. But in the process, I could be getting angry, I could be getting anxious, sad, all these negative emotions that can well up because I erroneously, thought that I knew what somebody was thinking, or I expected them to know what I'm thinking. So, what did you think about what was presented in the video? As we first of all say hello to Gladys Bryce, who is joining us on YouTube. So, thanks, Gladys, for joining us on YouTube.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, go right ahead there, Leona. What are
Uh,
your thoughts?
so I would say that the mind thinking, it's very problematic. You're thinking thoughts that are usually inaccurate. You're making assumptions, and it's very stressful. You're thinking that someone is thinking something, and usually those thoughts are negative. So you're at a loss before you even get started, because you're assuming that they're thinking, things about you, or the process, or whatever it is. And usually it's not accurate. So it's just,
Right.
it's not fair to you, it's not fair to them, to kind of go through that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now let's. So we had Gladys who said hello to everyone, and then we have Annie in the UK, Global Media. So Annie Osong, good to see you, Annie. No one is a mind reader.
Mm,
Do we have a tendency to guess the negative conclusion? And that's what happens. We really can't read someone's mind,
right.
but we'll tend to take a guess. And this is, I think this is a
Mm,
great way to frame it, because we're really guessing.
mhm,
Put aside this thing called mind reading, because we can't do it. So we're
mhm.
really guessing what the person's thinking. And
Yeah.
and when we're guessing, obviously it is the great chance that we're going to be wrong.
Right.
Uh, and it winds up typically because as our brains are processing these 50,000 thoughts a day,
Mm,
70 to 80% of these thoughts are negative. We're usually thinking something negative. It's like your clients. I think you talked about
right.
your clients, right?
Right. Right. Mm,
And
yeah.
how, and that's why they need the coaching, because they'll
right.
tend to think the worst. Right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, just to, to give an example, I can think of a time I had someone I was working with, and they wanted to stay in the organization, but they wanted a promotion. They wanted a higher level position. And a couple of the people that they needed to speak to make that happen, there were all these thoughts that they had about what those people would think about them without even knowing it, you
Mm,
know? And it put
mhm.
them at a disadvantage because they were so caught up in the mind reading that they were going through about those people, they couldn't even get past square one,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And I would just say, "Stop it. You're making yourself crazy. Let's start over. We're not doing negative. We're gonna stay positive. Forget the mind reading stuff, So let's start over here and let's focus on what you bring to the table."
And how many people, Leona,
Mhm.
actually talk themselves out of opportunities
Oh,
because they're mind reading
yeah.
about the hiring
Yes, that's
person.
right. Right. Yeah, they talk themselves out of it because 'cause they're feeling like, "Oh, they're not gonna think I'm good enough," or "They don't think I'm qualified enough," or "They won't think I fit in," and there's a million negative thoughts that come to mind, so much to a point where they decide that, "I'm not even gonna bother to go for it," which is
Mm,
kinda sad, you know? As you think about it, because, in most cases, the people are very much qualified, but they can't get past, the negative thoughts,
right.
which is too bad, so, and I
And
try to coach them out of the mind reading to, to focus, like I said, on the value that they bring and how, their skills and their education or whatever would be a great fit.
mm, hmm.
And here are the reasons why, and I want you to believe that and tell yourself, "I can do that and I'm qualified to do so." And don't get caught up in those negative thoughts that you're thinking, that they're thinking about you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's go to the phones and let's take Calvin first. Calvin, thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about mind reading. Welcome. Looks like you're speaking. Can you hear us okay, Calvin?
Open.
Okay, here we go.
I
Mm,
trust.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We needed to get the speaker up.
mhm.
So go right ahead, Calvin. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Stan. I don't know if the technical problems were on my end or otherwise, but
What were you experiencing?
I'm glad that. Well, when I called the number, the phone,
Yeah.
it it sounded like I was connected. It mentioned I was muted, but I couldn't hear anything. And then I momentarily heard your voice, and then it disappeared. So
Oh,
I logged off of the phone and used the link that you send via email.
sure.
So that's what I'm using now.
Okay.
And initially I couldn't hear you, but now I can hear you fine, and I see that Yetta, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly,
Yes.
is also co-hosting. So more than anything, I was calling in just to see if if there was a meeting or whether there was some technical issue.
Right. Obviously, well, the big thing is Yetta is my wife. I'm using her phone because my phone is down. My mobile's not working, so we had to make us. Had to jump off the Verizon technical folks and said, "Look, folks, I got a call to do. Honey, let me grab your phone," and that's where we are. So we made it all work. You
Wow.
you were resilient. You went from the phone line to jumping on over the internet, and hey, we do what we have to do. So great
That's
job
right.
there. Um, and Leona Calvin Patterson is a member of the president emeritus of the Winston Salem Black Chamber of Commerce. You probably heard
Oh,
us talk
okay.
about our
Yes.
partnership, and
Yes.
Calvin was a
Yeah.
big part of that, and
Yeah.
has been with us, Calvin, now for at least 4 years. Right?
Okay. Yes, I've heard Calvin speak in the past. Welcome,
Yeah.
Calvin.
Yeah. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. My apology for being late. But yes, Stan, if I can get on, count me in every Wednesday, AM and PM, because this is where I get what I need. This is where we get what we need. And it helps me. It helps me in a real definitive way to hear the principles, to make it part of my muscle memory, as the saying goes, and to just hear so much experience from literally all around the world. So kudos again to you for your vision, and kudos to the rest of the Power Thinking family as we continue to grow, and make this world a better place.
that's what it's all about, making the world a better place. And we can do that. We don't have to just sit back and say, well, okay, well, this is the way it's going to be. No, how can we help? And we got other folks, so we better get to them. Calvin, thank you very much. And let's go next to Carla Hill. And then we have Gloria Hairston. Carla, thanks for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about mind reading. Welcome.
Yes, Carla Hill, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One of the things I love about attending both the morning and the evening is I get to practice what I learned. Timothy Butts at the end of the phone call in the morning talked about a strategy he uses when he hears someone. He says, what I hear when after someone talks to confirm understanding, what I hear you saying is this, right? So that's a great way.
Yes.
But a workshop presentation this evening in person, and there was the explanatory style of one of the participants was, just somewhat more pessimistic, and it's what's the word? I was prepared for him to be that way for everything, but it wasn't true. That's my mind reading and stereotyping.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very helpful, and mind reading went through my mind. Like, oh, he's just, but he just needs lots of evidence. But if he's experienced something and he believes it, he's very, very, he was just very optimistic because he lived it. But if he doesn't live it, he's not going to share. So it just allows me to step back and think that it wasn't for all issues. So thank you for your vision and the space.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Carla. Really appreciate it. Let's move, and then we'll let you comment. Oh, I saw Gloria Hairston. Gloria, feel free to come back again. And we noticed, let's see if we have some other comments there. Leona, we had Annie saying hello to Riley and Leona, and to me. We had
Hi, Gladys.
made a comment. What are the dangers of jumping to the overly positive thoughts / conclusion, Leona? So there's one thing about the negative, but then there's the other about being overly positive. What are your thoughts?
Now, I have to say, I don't know that there is. I don't believe in overly positive thoughts. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you can be. I don't associate overly and positive together. I'll just say. Because I feel like, okay, yeah, maybe you're all pumped up, you're really positive, and maybe the conclusion isn't what you wanted it to be. But you know what I say to that? Save that positive energy for your next thing. Or whatever your next challenge is or your next opportunity is. I'm sorry, global.media.
That's
I
Annie.
don't. Oh, that's Annie. Oh, hi, Annie.
Annie also. Yeah.
Okay, Annie. I don't go along with overly positive. I don't think there's such a thing, but that's me. I'm just being honest. That's how I feel about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Let's see what other comments we have. Claudia is interesting. She had the same challenge on the phone, but she used her resilience and she moved to YouTube. We got a bunch of folks who are on YouTube. I wonder what happened to LinkedIn.
Oh,
We may have had
okay.
an issue with LinkedIn as well.
Hmm.
And here we go. Let's see it. 100%. Who agrees? Gladys Bryce said, I agree 100%. I love the positive info that's being shared on the Power Thinking app. I need positivity in my life every day. Well,
Yes.
thanks for that. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
do our notifications, and I'll hunt and hunt and hunt for something that I think would fit for the day. And I'm glad that folks, you appreciate it. I have one of our members who's the president of the Delaware Valley Association of Black Psychologists,
Mm.
Dr. Pamela Kennebrew. She actually sent me a text one day and said, and she said I can use it. The quote. The past 2 weeks have been challenging. Thank God for the Power Thinking app. So she felt that those notifications, and she has clients, and like you do, and others, and it can be draining. When you're working with clients and you're trying to get them turned around.
Right.
So we need those boosts as well as helpers.
Yes.
We can get drained a little as well.
Hmm.
So Gladys, thank you for that comment. And so as
Yeah.
we wrap up, we'll see if we can get a few others in. Let's see. We have Layla, who's joining us from the San Francisco Bay Area. So we had Boston, East Coast,
Yes.
and the Bay Area on the West Coast. We appreciate you, Layla, for being with us. And he says, love that, Leona. Best we learn to ask questions to clarify the other person's thoughts, or don't jump to conclusions.
Mm.
So
Okay.
ask those questions.
Hmm.
And we have another comment from Layla. Had challenges. Okay, had a challenge with the phone too. Glad to see you all be so resilient. And you just don't skip a beat. You just move to the next thing. So it's
Yes.
telling me that you definitely have internalized all of this. So Leona,
Hmm.
final thoughts about mind reading and the
Hmm.
dangers of mind reading,
Yeah.
and how can folks get in touch with you?
Okay. I would say that, like I said earlier, mind reading is problematic. Just really because I was telling Stanley earlier, I mean, I have even, done some of that, but, as soon as I find myself doing that, I snap out of it because I know better. And you've just got to always try to stay on the positive side and don't make assumptions because assumptions will get you into trouble. You don't need that added stress. So don't do it. And if you're gonna do some mind reading, try to if you have to do some, make it positive thoughts. Think to yourself, oh, this person is gonna love me. I can't wait to meet them. you know.
There you go.
Although, people typically think of the negative stuff, but so yeah, I mean, that's all I'll say about that.
And how
But
can folks get in touch with you?
so I am on LinkedIn. It's Leona Martin, as I said, LCM Career Coaching. Or you can email me. I usually give out my personal email because my website is under construction right now. So it's Leona Martin 89 at gmail.com.
Got it. All
Yes.
right,
On
Leona, thank you
LinkedIn, and
so
I'm
much.
very active out there. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'll see you on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being a co-host.
Thanks for having me.
You're usually just listening and
I
maybe saying
know.
hello, but this has been tremendous, and we really
Yeah.
appreciate you. And folks, it
Mhm.
gives you this, the sense that we not the sense, but the reality is we have some tremendous people in this community all over the world,
Mhm.
and I think by presenting this co-host opportunity, you'll
Yeah.
get a chance to meet people that you never even thought were around because you didn't hear from them. They were there like you,
Right.
just plugging in every week,
Mhm.
religiously for years. So I
Yes.
just thought it
Listening.
would be good to have
Mhm.
you exposed. And then we have some newer folks
Mhm.
who over the next few weeks will be getting you exposed to, because every few days we have folks who are joining in on the Power Thinking Corp app. So Gladys says great info. Thanks, Leona and Stanley. We thank you,
Thank
uh,
you, Gladys.
every single one of you, for being with us.
Mhm.
And remember, since we spend all of our time thinking, these 50,000 thoughts a day, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. So I'll say goodnight to everyone who is on our phone lines. Thank you very much for joining us. Won't be going through all the names tonight. We appreciate you, and on our platforms. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you again next Wednesday. Make sure you go to those app stores and